episode number 51. Hi, you're listening to the Careers Beyond Motherhood podcast with your host, Janine Esbrand. I'm here to help working mums like you to thrive in your careers and in motherhood. I share tips, strategies, and inspirational conversations with awesome women to help reduce the struggle in your juggle.
Time for Say Mummy.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It is great to be chatting with you today. I am in a reflective mood. It's December 2018, and it's that time of year where I reflect on the year that's passed and also start thinking about the next year and what I would like to happen in the next year. So I thought it would be really great in this episode to share with you some questions that you might want to ask yourself as you start to think about what you want to happen in the coming year. So it's really easy to jump into New Year's resolutions and start saying, okay, so next year I want to do X, Y, or Z. You might be saying, I want to lose weight, or I want to change jobs, or I want to do something different. But often New Year's resolutions are not stuck to. People tend to make them, and they can be really huge resolutions or huge goals that then don't translate into action and don't translate into tangible, measurable goals for people. So instead of thinking about New Year's resolutions, I want to suggest to you a process that you might want to go through in terms of reflecting on the year that's passed before you dive into what you want to happen in the coming year. And it's likely that going through that process is going to help you to have much more focused goals for the year ahead and ones that are far more achievable. So let's start by casting your mind back to the beginning of this year. What goals did you set yourself, or resolutions did you set yourself that you wanted to achieve in this year? It's really good to go through this process because sometimes we can set and forget our goals. So in the January newness of things, you kind of say, yeah, this is what I want to do for the year. And then life just happens. And often you can forget about what you said you wanted to do and realize that actually you didn't take much action in terms of making those goals a reality. So let's just reflect. There's no judgment in this. Don't feel bad if you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve or start to get down on yourself for not moving forward, but just identify what were the goals that you had at the beginning of the year. If you can and you're not driving or doing something like exercising or walking, you might want to grab a pen and paper so that you can write down these questions and either start reflecting on them now or revisit them later on. So the next thing you should ask yourself is what went well this year. So really think throughout the year, think through the months and think about the things that went really well that were wins for you, that were achievements for you, things that you celebrated. Write those down and highlight those, because often we can focus on the negatives. It's really easy for negative events to get stuck in our minds, and that means that we sometimes bypass all of the good that has happened. Getting into the habit of focusing on the positives can make a huge difference to your mindset and the way that you look at your current situation. There has been numerous studies done on the practice of gratitude and how it can make a difference to how fulfilled you feel, how content you feel, and how motivated you feel to move forward. So get into a habit of thinking about what you're grateful for, and that can often get you out of a slump or a funk if you're in that place of feeling like things aren't going your way. Okay, next you are going to consider what didn't go well this year and just list out some of the things that didn't go as planned and could have been better. List those out, and I want you to not just dwell in the, okay, this didn't go well, but go further and think about, well, what are the lessons that I learned from this scenario? There is a saying that goes, you either win or you learn. So instead of thinking so much about failure, just think about what are the lessons that I can learn from this? What do I know not to do next time, or how I could do things differently? And that is a growth mindset that has you thinking more in terms of how can I improve and move forward, as opposed to getting stuck in what went badly, what went wrong. As staying in that place isn't as productive or helpful when you are looking to next year and what it is you want to achieve. Other questions to ask yourself are, what did you enjoy this year? What were the things that brought you joy, that got you excited, that you really liked doing? Think about those things and think about what you want to do more of next year. So if you think about things that you enjoyed, then how can you arrange things so that you can do more of that in the coming year? What are the things you want to spend more time doing? Who are the people you want to spend more time with? What are the projects you want to work more on? What do you want to cultivate in the coming year? Have that in the forefront of your mind before you start setting your goals. And then the other thing that you want to think about is, what do you want to do less of, or what do you want to change in the coming year? So if there are things that weren't working for you, that you didn't enjoy spending time doing, that really impacted your life in a negative way, what were those things, and how can you make sure that you avoid them going forward? How can you rework things, change your routines, change your approach, so that the things that were irritating, annoying, or that just didn't work for you and your family are things that you eliminate or reduce in the coming year? So those are the main questions that you want to ask yourself when you're reflecting on last year and then moving into thinking about your goals for the coming year. And I often suggest to people that when you are setting your goals for the coming year, make sure that you're breaking them down and making them SMART goals. So you've probably heard of SMART goals before, but if you haven't, you want to make your goals specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timed, so that you can track whether or not you've achieved them, and you know what it is you need to do to make those goals a reality. And take those goals and break them down into 90-day increments. So if you have a goal, you're saying by the end of next year, I want to have achieved this, then think about, okay, let me work backwards from there. Let me start with the end in mind and then say, well, if that's my goal by the end of the year, what do I need to do in the first quarter of the year, in the second quarter of the year, in the third and the fourth, to move me towards that goal, so that this time next year I'm able to say that yes, I managed to achieve it. So setting yourself quarterly goals is really effective, because it's quarterly means that it's short enough for you to keep that goal really in focus, but it's a long enough time for you to make progress and for you to take the steps that you need to take to move yourself forward. So I would definitely suggest, if you haven't done so already, thinking about breaking things down into your quarterly goals and outcomes. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to share with you today. I think it's important to take some time to reflect in this season and to set yourself up for as much success as possible in your work and home life in the coming year. If this is something that you could do with some support around, and just figuring out what the goals are and how you're going to make them happen stresses you out or makes you feel a bit overwhelmed, then why not book a call with me at lightboxcoaching.com/call, and I can see if and how I can assist you with this whole process. If you haven't done so already, come over to LinkedIn and connect with me there, or on Instagram. So I'm loving Instagram recently. Like, this is a platform that I previously dipped in and out of and didn't really understand too well, but I've been spending more time on the platform recently and getting involved in Instagram stories, and I'm liking it. So it looks like I might be spending more time there in 2019. So come follow us over on Instagram at Careers Beyond Motherhood. Have you had a chance to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or on your podcast app? If not, I would really appreciate if you would take a few moments now to go and do that. The more ratings and reviews that we get, the more people will find this podcast and be able to join in our conversation. So I'd really appreciate it if you take a few moments and just leave us a review. That is all from us today. I will speak to you again soon, and happy planning for 2019. This podcast features music from Sound.